Hey everyone, welcome to Mountain Beast Mysteries. I wanted to talk about triangle UFOs in today's video. There's so many different kinds of UFO craft people see. People have been seeing flying saucers since the 1800s and beyond that in the past. Lots of ancient alien theories and I guess evidence talks about flying saucers being seen for the longest time, but people have been seeing so many different kinds of craft in the sky. They see light orbs of various types and patterns and colors. But the triangle UFOs are something that is very interesting because there's certain characteristics that these triangle UFOs have compared to the other things that people see. We talk a lot nowadays about these UFO craft being able to pull maneuvers that seem impossible. Like they can shoot off at like super high speeds and stop on a dime and change directions and do all these really crazy mind-blowing things. And that really gets our attention. But these triangular UFO craft people see, they're often described as being very slow moving, like very slow moving. They're massive and they're dead quiet. So they'll be hovering above at night and you won't even know unless you accidentally see it or you see some lights, because some of these triangle craft have lights on them. Some of them don't. For the most part they do. But they're really, really quiet and they're just kind of creeping along in the night sky. Who knows what they're doing? But there's been like mass sightings where people from vast distances will see the same things and it'll be a big deal. Like you'll have people from different towns in the same kind of general area, experiencing these things and reporting them to the police. And there's a few instances of that. Back in like the 1980s, it seems this triangle UFO stuff really started taking off. In like the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. After 1980, which is interesting because like experimental aircraft like the F-117 Nighthawk, which was a stealth aircraft, it took its first flight in 1981. So the timeline kind of lines up with some of these prototype military aircraft, showing up in our world and us being aware of them, and then having all these, triangle UFO things happening as well. Like, I wonder if there's a connection there. Because you have the F-117 and then there's the B-2 Spirit. Both triangular in shape, both stealth aircraft. Experimental when they came out. There was nothing else really like them. But mankind's been developing triangular shaped craft for a long time. I mean, back in World War II, the Germans had the flying wing, the Horten 229 or something it's called. And supposedly the Germans were, messing around with anti-gravity technology and whatnot, because, the rumor is that they were in contact with extraterrestrial beings or interdimensional beings. That's, what some people speculate is, the Germans acquired a lot of their technology from these more advanced beings. And that's the case with pretty much all the growth we've seen in industry and technology over the last 100 years. It all comes from military applications. And, where did they get all the ideas from this stuff? In such a short amount of time, technology has come so far. So, who knows? Who knows? These triangular craft, though, I've read in various places that if a UFO is triangular in shape, there's a really high chance that it is a man-made craft and not a genuine ET craft from another galaxy or wherever, or another dimension. If there's like really, sharp angles on it, if there's panels on it, if it looks like it's something that was built and put together, then it's probably something made here on Earth by man. Genuine UFO craft supposedly are seamless. they don't have any signs on the actual body of the craft that shows that it was put together with like nuts and bolts and rivets and whatnot. They're just smooth. And the construction to them, like looking at them, it's very perplexing, because how could something like that be created? There's no seams on it. There's no rivets. How is this thing even flying? You know? The technology aspect goes way over my head, but that's one thing I did read in a few different places, is that genuine UFO craft probably won't have any signs of being like a constructed machine that you'd find here. It would just be smooth. And triangular UFOs, they have lots of hard angles on them. They're covered in lights. They kind of do look like something that would be more man-made. And like, if you're going from airplanes to like some sort of aircraft that uses a different kind of propulsion that you'd see that's similar to like a UFO, the next leap would probably be to make it a triangle shape. You know, you're going from an airplane with a fuselage and wings coming out of it to something like the SR-71 Blackbird, which is almost getting to be like a triangular shape. You know, look at fighter jets, they're almost triangular. It's just a natural progression, I think, you know, to go from that to an actual triangle. But how do they fly the way they do? Like, how are they dead quiet? Are these things man-made, and are they actually like made of metal? Like, what if, you know, look at like an airship or something. They can move really, really slow. Or like a hot air balloon or something. Are these like dirigibles kind of? And they're just moving really, really slow. Sometimes people will say that they can hear like a really low humming or buzzing sound coming from these things. And maybe they are hearing maybe they're hearing propellers of some kind keeping these things up in the air. Maybe those triangle UFOs aren't actually metallic in nature. They move really slow, they're really, really quiet, and they're really, 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 really big. But there's lots of different kinds of triangle craft people see as well. Like sometimes they'll see just a black triangle with maybe a light on it. Sometimes it'll have lights in all corners of the triangle and maybe a light in the middle. Maybe sometimes there'll be like a canopy or a bubble that they'll see on the top or the bottom. Maybe along the edges of the triangle craft, they'll see windows of some kind. You'll see a lot of depictions of these things and sketches of them that people have drawn, that eyewitnesses have drawn, that have like portholes and windows on them. A lot of times they're rectangular in shape, the windows, for whatever reason, but these triangle UFOs have windows a lot of the time. I know, it's interesting. What's the point of having a craft that can be dead silent, not make any sound, but then still has a bunch of lights on it that are visible and get people's attention? I don't know what the purpose to that is. But you would imagine that the military, the government, they must have some sort of experimental aircraft that are triangular in shape, because they already have them, like with those stealth bombers, the B-2 Spirit. Of course they have triangular aircraft that are experimental. Is that what we're seeing? I don't know. But there's a really high chance that it is, that these aren't actual alien craft, that they're some sort of black op experimental aircraft. For what purpose? I don't know. But people have been seeing them for quite a while. It really took off in the 80s, though, it seems, where people really started seeing them. And it does kind of line up with these prototype aircraft coming out to the public. So, I don't know, it just seems like it could be more than a coincidence to me. And they don't do anything crazy. Like some of these UFOs that people see, some of the stuff that I've seen, the way that they travel it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. Like you almost don't believe your eyes. But I've also seen lights in the sky that I'm pretty sure were genuine extraterrestrial craft or beings of some kind that move really slow. Sometimes they're just, moving along at a slow enough pace to get a good look at you, and for you to get a good look at them, whatever they are. They're not always doing crazy things and, you know, whatnot. Like, why would they do some of the things they do if they don't need to? Like some of the shots of these light orbs I have, there'll be 3 of them, and they'll be kind of in a triangular formation, but they'll be moving really slow. A lot of times when people see things in the sky they think might be a triangle, it could just be 3 separate objects, 3 separate lights in a triangular formation. And I've recorded that before. In the one instance, it's very clear. You can see these lights really close together in a triangular formation. I really don't think it's an actual solid triangle craft. I think it's 3 separate lights, but it's still really hard to tell in the video, and it happens so quick. But there's probably so many cases of people seeing just lights in a triangular formation, and then they go to someone and say, oh yeah, I saw this triangular UFO, and then the report would be completely different from reality, because they're probably just seeing 3 separate lights, you know? And in the night sky, it's a lot harder to see a fuselage, like the hull of the craft, unless it's being lit up by its own lights or by city lights or whatever. You know, but definitely people see both things. In some cases, you know, people will say like, yeah, I could see the actual body of the thing. It was a giant black triangle craft, and it was massive, and I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what it was. It was dead quiet. It was creeping along. It was unbelievable. It seems like nowadays what people see most are lights, strange lights. Things moving in the sky that move in weird ways, that flash certain light patterns and different colors, and it all seems to be related to light and energy somehow. Most of the stuff I've witnessed, well, I could argue pretty much all of it, was light phenomena, light orbs. Are they orbs? Are they beings? Are they spirits? Are they craft that are half in this reality and half not? I don't know. I really don't know. But there's no denying that there's some sort of intelligence behind them. Whether they themselves are intelligent or something intelligent is controlling them and flying them through the sky. I don't know. But compared to the triangle stuff seems a little bit more primitive, and they don't do things that are as mind-blowing as far as like maneuvers go. Sometimes when people see these triangle UFOs though, the one weird thing that some of them do is when they're traveling, they're not traveling like in a direction where the point of the triangle is facing. Sometimes they'll be flying in a certain direction, but the point of the triangle will be like up in the air, so it'll be like a pyramid kind of. And they'll be flying with the flat side of the triangle facing forward. That is pretty crazy. I don't know what that would be. Could man-made technology do something like that? I don't know. That's getting kind of weird, but that's a very rare thing. Like I've only read that in like maybe 2 different reports. But for the most part, they're flying along like flat. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. Just a brief intro on these triangular UFOs and share some initial thoughts on them. There's a few stories I want to put more time and energy into sharing with you guys, including an outbreak of triangular UFOs in Belgium back in the day. So we'll be getting into that pretty quick here on Mountain Beast Mysteries. Thanks for watching this video.